Thank you so much for joining me on today's video. Today we're going to be talking about what to do when you are making your own homemade water kefir or milk kefir and you need to take a break. Many of us as homemakers enjoy the daily process of turning over our various kefir grains. But what happens when we need to leave the house for a bit? Well, I thought today would be a great opportunity to show you what to do. So let's get started. We are about to go on a little trip and I need to put my kefir grains on pause for about a week. You can use this method I'm showing you today if you need to take a longer pause on your grains, up to about a month. If you need to go any longer than that, then there is another method. But today I'm going to show you just the short pause for up to a month. All right, so we'll start with the water kefir. I have my water kefir here that has been fermenting for a couple days. Actually, it's probably gone a bit too long. And since we are leaving, I'm not going to have the time to do the second ferment on the counter. So today I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to strain out this liquid. I'm not going to keep it. And I'm going to put my grains aside until I'm ready to use them again in about a week and a half to 2 weeks time. I'm going to take off the cover. I have this nifty little cloth cover I bought and I love it. That way I don't have to use coffee filters anymore. And as you can see, this is super active. The grains have very likely eaten up all the sugar, and so it's time to get them into fresh sugar water. So what I've got here is a quart of fresh clean water. And I'm going to add between 1/4 cup and 1/2 cup of sugar to this. Now this is going to be just our medium that our grains are going to sit in while I'm away. The difference is this is not going to sit on the counter, it's going to go in the fridge. And as I mentioned, it will be able to be in the fridge for up to about a month. So I'm going to go ahead and strain out my grains. I'm going to add a little more than 1/4 cup. Just to make sure that my grains are adequately fed while I'm away, because yes, they do eat the sugar in the sugar water. So that's 1/4 cup, and I'll add another 1/8, and that should do them good while I'm away. And now I'll give my sugar water a nice stir. And we will add our grains back in just like you were going to be making normal water kefir. But the difference is you're going to store this mixture in the fridge. And so when I come home from my trip, all I will need to do is strain the grains again and put them into fresh sugar water, and they will be ready to make a new batch of kefir. Now, if you want to store your kefir grains for longer than a month, there is a method that's recommended, and it includes dehydrating your grains. I have never had to do this because I've never taken a pause longer than a few weeks. But if you needed to take a pause, let's just say you're tired of making kefir, but you don't want to lose your grains altogether, you can dehydrate them. So that process includes straining your grains, leaving them to dry in a cool, dark place for 3 to 5 days, or you can put them in your dehydrator, just as long as the temperature does not exceed 85 degrees Fahrenheit. If the temp goes above 85, they will die, and you don't want that. Once they're dried sufficiently, you can store them in an airtight container in your refrigerator for up to 6 months. But again, today's method is just for those short pauses that you might want to take if you're going on vacation or you just need a break from drinking kefir. So I'm going to go ahead and stick this in my fridge. Okay, and the next thing we're going to look at is our milk kefir. So I have actually been kind of taking a pause anyway because I'm not drinking as much milk kefir these days. This particular milk kefir has been sitting in the refrigerator in milk, which is essentially the concept of what you do if you want to take a break. Putting your grains in milk in the refrigerator just causes them to slow way down. And so when I'm not feeling like I want to drink a lot, I will just do that. The process of putting a pause on your milk kefir grains is similar to the process of putting a pause on your water kefir grains. It's not that much different. So what we're going to do is strain out our milk kefir grains. I love this strainer. A friend taught me about it years ago, and I think it makes making kefir so much easier. You don't have to have this. You can certainly manually pull out your grains if you prefer, but I like using this strainer. All right, so my grains are all strained now, and I'm going to put my grains into a fresh jar that can hold between 2 to 4 cups of milk. And that is just so my grains don't get hungry while I'm away. They'll have sufficient sugar from the milk to feed on while I'm gone, which is exactly what I want because I don't want to weaken these grains. Now, it kind of goes without saying that this works only for grains that are well established. If you have brand new grains that you just started, it really isn't recommended that you take a break because those grains need to get built up and be strong. And when they're brand new, they're not yet. So this process that I showed you with both the water kefir and the milk kefir should be done with grains that are healthy and have been used in fermentation for some time. Okay, so there's my kefir. I'll put that to the side. And now I've got, as you can see here, a decent amount of kefir grains. I'm gonna cover my grains. I have only about 2 cups of fresh milk. And so that's what I'm gonna use today. Maybe a little more than 2 cups actually, about 2.5. So this should do fine while I'm gone for the next week or so. And as I mentioned, this is similar to the water kefir in that we're just gonna leave it in the refrigerator. Those cool temps in the refrigerator will allow the grains to slow way down and not eat up the sugar as fast in the milk. The process of taking a break from kefir grains for longer than a month, it's exactly like what you would do with water kefir grains. You would strain the grains out of the milk and you would allow them to dry for between 3 and 5 days. And then you will put them in an airtight container with some powdered milk, and you can keep those in the refrigerator for up to 6 months. But again, I have never had to do that. However, if you do need to take a longer break, it's a great way to hold on to your grains. All right, so now that this is all strained and put into fresh milk, I'm gonna set this in the refrigerator for the next week while I'm away. All right, friends, well, that is it. Those are the ways that you can take a pause on your kefir ferments. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below, and I hope that this video was helpful for you. And as usual, thank you so much for tuning in to today's video, and I look very much forward to seeing you in the next one. Goodbye for now.